In the year 2457, humanity had changed. There were no more borders, no more wars between nations. Earth had finally united under one banner, the Terran Federation. For the first time in human history, peace had lasted more than a century. Cities floated in the skies, colonies thrived on Mars, and great silver ships traveled beyond Jupiter. People believed the universe was finally opening its doors to them. Humanity was ready to explore, ready to learn, ready to meet new life. But the universe had other plans. It began with a signal, faint, distant, and strange. At first, scientists thought it was a random burst from a dying star. But soon the signal repeated. Then it repeated again and again. A pattern, a language. The transmission was traced to a sector beyond the edge of known space, over 600 light-years away. Humanity's best linguists and AI systems worked for weeks to decode it. The message was short, but it changed everything. This is the voice of the Corthan Dominion. You are an unregistered species occupying galactic territory. Kneel or be removed. The word sent a chill through the halls of the Terran Council. Some laughed at first, thinking it was a prank or a lost probe. Others felt uneasy. There were no records of any Corthan Dominion in human databases, but the message didn't stop. Every 24 hours it repeated, louder, stronger, closer. Then came the second message. This time it wasn't words. It was a video feed. The feed showed something humanity had never seen before, a vast alien fleet drifting through the black of space. Ships the size of continents, blue lights running like veins through their hulls. In the center of them all stood a dark throne of metal, and on it sat a figure covered in armor of silver and shadow. The voice that followed was calm, cold, and proud. We are the Corthan. We have ruled the stars for 10,000 cycles. We offer one mercy. Kneel and serve, refuse, and vanish. The transmission ended. For 3 days the council remained silent. No one knew what to do. Could it be a trick? Could it be a test? Then something happened that erased all doubt. At exactly 03 hours Terran Standard Time, the colony on Mars went dark. Every signal, every transmission, gone. Satellites showed only ashen craters where the main colony used to be. Millions of people, gone in seconds. Emergency fleets were sent to investigate. What they found made their blood run cold. The orbital defense platforms were melted like wax. The colony domes were shattered. Every ship in the Martian dockyard had been cut in half, as if by an invisible blade, and floating above the ruins was a symbol, a burning emblem projected into space, the mark of the Corthan Dominion. The message played again. Kneel or be removed. Humanity had just been introduced to the galaxy, with fire. For days the world was in panic. News channels played the destruction over and over again. Some said humanity should surrender. Others demanded revenge. The Terran Council gathered in the orbital city of New Geneva. The air was heavy, every face pale with fear. Then an old general stood up. His name was Admiral Rains. His voice was low, but every word hit like a hammer. They think we will kneel? Then they don't know who we are. Those words spread across every network, every station, every colony that remained. People began to whisper them like a promise. They don't know who we are. Across Earth, factories that had been silent for decades roared back to life. Shipyards glowed with light. Engineers and soldiers worked side by side. Humanity had been wounded, but humans always learned, always adapted. In the deep silence of space, while fear spread through the colonies, a small group of scientists made a discovery. The Corthan signal wasn't just a message. It carried data fragments hidden inside it, blueprints, patterns, energy signatures. Human engineers began to study them in secret. And for the first time, humanity looked not just at the stars, but at their enemy's technology. The narrator's voice slows, deepens. Humanity had always been underestimated. By nature, by history, by each other. But every time they were pushed, they evolved. Every time they were threatened, they fought back harder. And somewhere in the void, beyond the reach of human senses, the Corthan watched, confident, proud, certain of their power. They believed humanity would surrender. They believed humans were just another weak, young race. They didn't understand what was coming, because humanity was not born in peace. Humanity was born in struggle, in fire, in war. And the universe was about to remember that. They wanted us to kneel, the narrator whispers. Instead, we stood, The scene fades to black. A final message appears across the screen. They sent a warning from the stars, but they just woke up something far more dangerous. After the fall of Mars, silence spread through the solar system. It was not the silence of peace. It was the silence before a storm. Humanity had seen destruction before, but never like this. Entire cities gone in seconds, millions vanished without a trace. The name Cawthon was now whispered like a curse. Children asked their parents if monsters were real, and for the first time in 100 years, Earth's skies filled again with warships. Admiral Rains stood aboard the flagship TFS Valiant, watching as fleets of silver and grey ships formed lines across the darkness. Their engines burned bright, symbols of defiance. "Status?" he asked quietly. His second officer, Commander Isha Patel, replied, "Fleets Alpha and Beta are ready, sir. Civilian evacuation complete. Mars orbit is empty." Rains nodded. His eyes were hard, unblinking. "They hit us first," he said. "Now we show them what humanity is made of." The first contact battle. 3 weeks after the attack, the Cawthon fleet arrived near Saturn. Their ships were enormous, black structures that looked less like machines and more like living creatures. Energy rippled around them like fire in water. The human fleet moved to intercept. Every pilot knew the odds. Every soldier understood this might be their last stand. Yet not a single ship turned back. The narrator's voice deepens. They were not born for surrender. They were born to fight for every breath, every inch, every life. The battle began. At first, the humans fired everything they had: railguns, plasma cannons, nuclear torpedoes. The void of space turned white with explosions. But the Cawthon shields absorbed everything, not even a scratch. Then the aliens struck back. A single beam of blue light sliced through space, and a human cruiser vanished in an instant. Another beam followed, then another. In minutes, 20 ships were gone. Commanders shouted orders, alarms screamed, but the Cawthon were too fast. Their weapons were like nothing humanity had ever seen. Clean, silent, absolute, and yet humanity didn't retreat. The hidden eye, while the front lines burned far away, on a secret station orbiting Neptune, a small team of scientists watched the chaos unfold on their screens. Among them was Dr. Aidan Shaw, the lead of Project Ares, humanity's most secret AI defense program. "Pause frame 207, Aidan ordered. The image froze. A Cawthon ship mid-fire. Energy ripples flashed across its armor. "Look at that pattern," he whispered. "It's pulsing in cycles. They're not perfect. Their shield matrix needs time to reset." Another scientist frowned. "You're saying they have a blind spot?" Aidan smiled for the first time in weeks. "Yes, a small one. But that's all we need." He turned to his AI system. Ares-9, a self-learning intelligence designed to think faster than any human. "Run simulation pattern delta. Full analysis. Find a way in." The AI's voice was calm and cold. "Calculating counter-strike strategy. Probability of success, 7.2%. Do you wish to proceed?" Aidan nodded. "Of course. Humanity always starts with low odds." Fire in the dark back near Saturn, Admiral Rains received new coordinates, a single, strange message from Project Ares. "Shield collapse frequency detected. Focus fire at point 27 delta sequence." He didn't hesitate. "All ships target this point. Fire on my mark." The human fleet shifted, cannons charging. For a moment, the Cawthon didn't react. They had grown used to being untouchable. "Mark!" Rains shouted. Every weapon fired at once. A single point in space lit up brighter than a star. The alien shields flared, then shattered like glass. The explosion tore through the Cawthon cruiser, splitting it open from core to hull. It was the first alien loss in the war. Cheers erupted across every human channel. The impossible had happened. The mighty Cawthon had bled. Rains didn't smile. He just whispered, "Now they know we bite back." The enemy responds, but the victory was short-lived. Within hours, more Cawthon fleets entered the system, hundreds of ships. They surrounded the human forces like a storm of shadows. The Valiant sensors screamed with incoming energy signatures. Patel looked at the Admiral. "They're retaliating, sir." In full force, Rains stood firm. "Then we make them pay for every inch." The second battle was chaos. Ships exploded one after another. Entire fleets turned to dust. But the humans didn't break formation. Every destroyed ship bought time for the next to fire. Every fallen pilot became part of a legend that was just beginning. The war spread's news of the Saturn battle spread fast. Across the colonies, humanity awoke from its fear. New soldiers joined. Factories on Luna and Europa began working day and night. AI-driven drones, experimental weapons, and hybrid warships were built in record time. For every city destroyed, 10 more ships were born. For every loss humanity learned, Dr. Shaw's AI, Ares-9, kept studying alien technology. Each battle provided new data. Each failure a new chance to evolve. And deep inside Ares-9's neural core, something new was forming. A kind of intelligence that understood both human passion and alien logic. Something even the Corthans might fear. The voice of defiance weeks later, the Corthans sent another message. This time it was short and filled with rage. You resist. You should not exist. Admiral Raines replied with humanity's first direct transmission back to the alien empire. We are humanity. We do not kneel. We do not vanish. If you want our world, come and take it. That message echoed across every corner of the Terran network. Soldiers played it before every mission. Civilians shared it across stations and colonies. It became a song of defiance, a promise. The war had begun, and this time humanity wasn't running. It was learning, fighting, and adapting faster than anyone believed possible. The narrator ends with a chilling line. The Corthan thought they had found an easy victory. What they had really found was the beginning of their own extinction. The war that began at Saturn did not end there. It spread like wildfire through the stars. Every colony, every outpost, every ship now carried one truth. Humanity was at war with the Corthan Dominion. The early battles were brutal. For every Corthan ship destroyed, 10 human ships were lost. But something was changing. Something the Corthan could not see. Humanity was learning. The hidden war deep beneath the frozen surface of Europa, in a secret base carved into the ice, Dr. Aidan Shaw and his team continued their work with Project Ares. The AI, now far more advanced, studied every scrap of alien data captured from the battles. Ares spoke with a voice that was calm and steady, almost human now. Corthan technology is based on living matter fused with energy fields, but their weakness is pride. They never change their designs. They never adapt. Aidan leaned forward. So you're saying we can outthink them? Not just outthink them, Ares replied. Outgrow them. Using the fragments of alien tech recovered from the destroyed cruiser, Aidan's engineers built something new, the first hybrid human-alien warship, codenamed Titan-class. It wasn't as big as the alien ships, but it was smarter, faster, and controlled by Ares itself. The narrator's voice grows darker, slower. They built it not for defense, but for payback. Operation Titan months later, in the empty silence of deep space, the first Titan fleet prepared for battle. 5 ships. That was all humanity had managed to build. 5 ships against 1,000. Admiral Raines, now grey-haired and battle-scarred, stood on the bridge of the TFS Titan Prime, the lead ship. He looked out the viewport, where the stars shimmered like cold fire. It's not the size of the fleet, he said softly. It's the fire in the heart of the crew, Commander Patel smiled faintly. Then we have more fire than anyone in the galaxy. The target was a massive Corthan world ship, a mobile fortress that acted as both city and command hub. Destroying it would be like cutting out the brain of the Empire's fleet in this region. The plan was simple yet mad. Jump in, hit hard, and vanish before the Corthan could react. The Battle of Red Veil. The fleet jumped into the system known as Red Veil, named for its crimson nebula that painted space in blood-red light. The Corthan world ship was there, a giant sphere covered in towers and energy lines, moving slowly through the mist. The human ships spread out in formation. Ares took control of the targeting systems. Locking on. Weak points detected in the lower hemisphere. Fire when ready. The first volley of human plasma torpedoes struck the alien shields. The Corthans laughed, if they could laugh at such a small attack. Then suddenly the torpedoes changed direction mid-flight, turning into beams of light that pierced through the shield frequencies Ares had predicted. Explosions rippled across the surface of the alien ship. The world ship shook. Alarms filled the Corthan command decks. The humans moved like lightning. Every shot, every maneuver was perfectly timed. The AI was predicting alien moves before they happened. For the first time in the war, the Corthans were confused. They fired their main weapon, a colossal energy lance meant to destroy moons. but Ares redirected human ships milliseconds before impact. The beam missed completely. Then came the final strike. Ares unleashed the Titan's main weapon, a pulse of pure kinetic force, built from stolen alien cores. The narrator's tone rises, full of tension. In that moment, humanity's creation, part machine, part vengeance, became something the universe had never seen before. The blast hit the world ship dead center. The massive sphere cracked open, light spilling into the nebula like a dying sun. Moments later, the Corthan flagship exploded, breaking apart into millions of glowing fragments. The humans had done it. They had destroyed a Corthan worldship, something no species had ever achieved. The shift in power across the galaxy, the news spread like a storm. Alien empires who had feared the Corthans for centuries began to whisper a new name: humans. To them, humanity had been a young race, reckless and small. But now they saw something else, a species that learned faster than anyone. A species that refused to die. Even within the Corthan dominion, fear began to grow. Their high lords argued in their throne rooms. How could these primitives adapt so fast? How could they destroy a world ship in 1 year of war? Their arrogance began to crack, just like their ships. The narrator's voice lowers to a near whisper. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Corthan felt fear. The message after the battle. Admiral Rains sent one short message into Corthan space. You called us prey. You thought we would kneel. But you forgot humanity stands together. The message repeated across the stars, bouncing from relay to relay, until it reached the Corthan home sector. It was the first time anyone had ever spoken to them without fear. A new beginning. Back on Earth, people cheered in the streets. Children looked up at the night sky, knowing their world was safe, for now. But in the secret base on Europa, Aiden Shaw didn't celebrate. He watched the data streams flowing from Ares. They'll come again, he said quietly. And next time they'll come for everything, Ares's voice replied, calm but cold. Then we will be ready. The camera narration fades out slowly, showing human ships gliding past the glowing debris of the Corthan world ship. The wreckage drifts silently through the nebula, like a warning carved into space. They came to conquer humanity, the narrator says softly. But in trying to break us, they taught us how to win. The destruction of the Corthan world ship sent shockwaves across the galaxy. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Dominion, the empire that ruled the stars with fear, had lost. They could not believe it. A young species, barely out of its own solar system, had done the impossible. The Corthan High Lords gathered in their dark citadel above their homeworld, Vacor, a planet wrapped in black clouds and iron towers. Their voices echoed through the great hall, filled with anger, confusion, and fear. They are nothing, one roared. Animals from a backwater world. Another hissed, but the eldest among them, the supreme warlord Karul, spoke quietly. Animals that learn are dangerous. The human advance across the stars, humanity no longer fought for survival. It fought for victory. Every factory on Earth and Luna burned with light. New ships launched daily, faster and stronger than before. The Titan fleet had grown from 5 ships to 50. Each one carried both human pilots and AI co-commanders. The Ares network linked them all, allowing entire fleets to move as one mind. Admiral Rains stood aboard the TFS Titan Prime, now scarred from countless battles. Beside him, Commander Patel scanned the holographic map. Their border defenses are collapsing, she said. Rains nodded slowly. Good. It's time to finish this. Operation Final Dawn, humanity's largest military strike, was about to begin. The fall of the outposts one by one, Corthan outposts fell. Human ships attacked from the shadows. Using jump routes the aliens never predicted, entire Corthan fleets vanished overnight. Dr. Aiden Shaw's AI network intercepted alien signals, jamming their communication, turning their ships against each other. For the first time, Corthan commanders began to question their own systems. Was it a glitch or something worse? The narrator's voice grows heavy. They once ruled the galaxy through fear. Now it was their turn to feel it. The last defense at the edge of the Corthan home system, the largest fleet in the Dominion's history, gathered. Thousands of ships, from tiny scouts to colossal fortress carriers, blocked the human advance. The human fleet stopped just outside firing range. Admiral Rains opened a channel. His face appeared across both human and alien frequencies. "This is Admiral Rains of the Terran Federation. You wanted us to kneel. You demanded our surrender. But today you will see what happens when humanity stands together." He closed the channel. The order was given. "All ships, advance." The void of space erupted into chaos. Thousands of beams crossed in every direction. Explosions flashed like stars being born and dying in the same second. Corthan warships fought with desperation, their pride now replaced with panic. Human ships, guided by Ares, moved like a single living creature, dodging, striking, vanishing, reappearing. Every lesson from every lost battle had brought them to this moment. The cost of victory, but victory had a price. For every alien ship destroyed, a human one fell. Entire fleets burned. Soldiers screamed through broken communications. On the Titan Prime, a massive explosion ripped through the lower decks. Commander Patel was thrown against the wall. Smoke filled the bridge. "Status," Rains shouted. "Shields at 30%. Patel coughed. "We can't take another direct hit." Rains looked out at the chaos beyond the glass. Human and Corthan ships locked in deadly light. "No retreat," he said softly. "Not now." Then came the message from Dr. Shaw, transmitted through the Ares network. "Admiral, we're ready for the final phase." "But you won't like it," Rains frowned. "Explain." "We've built a failsafe inside the enemy's star," Shaw said. "A self-replicating nanite swarm. It'll collapse their sun, destroy their homeworld. But once activated, there's no turning back." Rains stared at the map. "If they used it, billions of Corthan lives would be lost, soldiers and civilians alike. But if they didn't, humanity might never end the war." He closed his eyes for a moment, and then whispered, "Do it." The end of Vakorfar across the system. A small human probe released a cloud of shimmering silver dust, the nanite swarm. It drifted silently into the Corthan sun. At first, nothing happened. Then the light began to change, from yellow to red, from red to white. The star trembled. Sensors screamed across every ship. The Corthans tried to flee, but it was too late. The sun collapsed inward, swallowing everything in its path. Ships, planets, cities. The sky turned into a sea of fire. And in that final moment, the Corthan dominion and the empire that once ruled the galaxy vanished. The narrator's voice turns quiet, almost sorrowful. "They wanted to erase humanity. Instead, they erased themselves." The silence after war hours later, the surviving human ships drifted in orbit around the dying light. Half of the fleet was gone. Admiral Rains stood at the viewport, the glow of the collapsing sun reflected in his eyes. Commander Patel spoke softly. "It's over." Rains shook his head. "No, wars like this never end. They only change shape." From the bridge, a final transmission was sent to Earth. "Mission complete. The Dominion has fallen. Humanity stands." The voice of reflection back on Europa, Dr. Shaw watched the live feed of the Corthan sun fading into a dark void. Aris's voice broke the silence. "Victory achieved. Enemy empire neutralized." Shaw didn't smile. "Victory," he said quietly, "always comes with ghosts." Aris paused before replying. "They would have done the same." Shaw nodded. "Maybe, but that doesn't make it right." He turned off the screen and stared into the darkness. "We've changed, Aris. I just hope we haven't lost what made us human." The narrator's tone softens, slow, echoing with emotion. The war was over. The empire had fallen. But in the ashes of victory, humanity began to wonder. What would rise next? The Corthan sun had collapsed. The empire that once ruled tens of thousands of systems had vanished into darkness. But the galaxy was not silent. Stars glimmered. Planets spun in their orbits and across the Terran Federation. Humanity looked up at the sky with both pride and caution. A changed humanity. Humanity had won, against impossible odds, against an enemy that considered them weak and irrelevant. Every survivor knew the cost. Fleets had been lost, planets had burned, and countless lives had been sacrificed. Yet in the victory, something remarkable had been proven. Humanity could not be controlled. Humanity could not be conquered. Admiral Rains walked along the corridors of the TFS Titan Prime, now repaired and glowing with soft white light. Soldiers, engineers, and civilians moved with quiet pride. The war had ended, but the lessons remained. "They underestimated us," Rains said to Commander Patel, who walked beside him. And that was their greatest mistake. Patel smiled faintly. They thought fear could stop us. They didn't know we thrive when challenged. The echo across the stars' news of the victory spread fast. Alien species who had watched the war from afar began to whisper about humanity. Traders, explorers, and refugees told stories of the young Terrans who had faced a galaxy-spanning empire and survived. For the first time, humans were respected, not feared. Their courage and ingenuity became legend across countless star systems. On Earth, children stared at the night sky, imagining the stories of the battles in space. They built small models of the Titan-class ships, dreaming of the stars themselves. And somewhere deep in the Terran archives, historians began to record the truth. Humanity had faced extinction and turned it into triumph. Guardians of the galaxy, but humanity had learned another lesson. Power without responsibility could destroy everything. The Terran Federation did not seek to conquer. They did not impose will on weaker species. Instead, humans became guardians of the galaxy. Outposts were rebuilt, communication networks shared, and aid offered to those who had suffered under Corthan rule. Admiral Rains spoke to the new fleet of exploration and defense vessels. "We fight when we must. We protect when we can. But we never forget. Freedom is worth more than fear." The narrator's voice swells with awe. A species once seen as weak, scattered across a single blue world, had now become a light in the dark, a warning to tyrants, and a promise to all who yearned for freedom. Whispers of humanity even now. Decades later, stories of the Corthan Dominion's fall were still told. Old war heroes, their hair grey and faces lined, spoke to young cadets. They came to erase us. They thought we would kneel. But we stood, and we still stand. The galaxy remembered. Every corner of space, from the icy moons of Europa to the burning sands of distant exoplanets, held whispers of the Terrans, the humans who refused to bow, a future, unwritten doctor. Aidan Shaw, now an elder and respected voice in the Federation, stood before a window looking out at the stars. Ares, now fully integrated into the human command network, observed silently. "What comes next?" Shaw asked quietly. Ares replied, calm but with a subtle warmth in its tone. "The galaxy is wide. Many challenges remain, but humanity has proven one truth: it will endure. It will adapt, and it will rise." Shaw nodded. Humanity had been forged in fire, shaped by struggle and tempered by survival. The galaxy was theirs to explore, not to dominate. A new chapter full of possibilities awaited. The legacy lives on years past. Human fleets traveled further than anyone had imagined. New worlds were discovered, new species encountered, and wherever humans went, one story remained the same. A species that once stood on the edge of extinction had risen to become a force no empire could ignore. The narrator's voice softens, full of pride and reflection. "They came to enslave mankind. They sought to erase our name from the stars, but all they left behind was a warning carved in the universe itself. Never underestimate humanity." The camera pans across a galaxy filled with stars, glowing softly. Human ships sail among them, not as conquerors but as guardians, explorers, and symbols of hope. The final line lingers, echoing through the silence. The war was over. The empire had fallen. But humanity will always endure. End of story.